Virtue ethics is a type of normative ethical theory that is known to be more person than action based. This ethical theory believes that if you were to do something nice, that makes you a nice person. Now, I know what you might be thinking. What's the difference between this and the other ethical theories I just learned? Well, let's bring in a certain scenario. You were involved with some bad friends, and what they did was destroy this playground. They flipped over some poles and destroyed some swings, and wow, your friends must be really strong. Okay, you have some Hulk friends, and they basically destroy a playground. You go home, and before you know it, the police knocks on your door and asks you what happened. They said that they didn't know who did it, but they heard you were a witness. Now, let's say you have two options: tell or not tell. A utilitarian would say that you shouldn't tell because you want to maximize the happiness of your group of friends instead of you being happy or a smaller group of the police being happy. A deontologist would tell the truth because according to his moral laws, and by him I mean, Kant, you must not cheat, you must not steal, and you must not lie. A care ethicist would focus on the relationships you have with the people, and since you're closer to your friends than you are to the police, you would also lie. A virtue ethicist would tell the truth, not because you're supposed to, but because it will make you a good person. It's kind of like being a saint, because what you're doing good is because you want to do good, to be good. That did not make sense. Just look at me. I want to be a good student, so I study and I work hard, not because the teachers tell me to, but because it makes me a good student. Aristotle, born 384 BC and died 322 BC. One of the founding fathers of virtue ethics is Aristotle. He believes that we all have this quest to understand and live a life of moral character. Why? Well, there is this very special word called eudaimonia, which is a Greek word and can't really be translated to English very well, but can be closely translated to a life well lived, or human flourishing. Basically, eudaimonia is a life of striving. It involves looking long and hard at yourself and pushing yourself to always improve, trying your best and improving your strengths and weaknesses. A eudaimonistic life would be full of happiness that comes from achieving something very difficult, rather than it just being given to you. It is a feeling of pure happiness when you can sink into the blankets of your bed and tell yourself that you worked hard during this exhausting day, facing disappointments and failures, but also achieving goals and continuing to strive and work hard to being the very best person you can be. But how do we get eudaimonia? One simple solution. We must be virtuous. If we practice and do good deeds, then we become people of good deeds. Therefore, if you do virtuous habits, you will likely always be in the right when making ethical decisions. If you focus on being a good person, good actions will follow effortlessly. Virtue ethics helps us understand what it means to be a virtuous human being without giving us any guidelines or rules on how we should live our lives. But Anna, how do you make good deeds in the first place? What is a good deed? Well, Aristotle believes that a good deed is something that fits within a golden mean. It is the sweet spot that lies between the two extremes, or the two end bits. One is called the deficiency vice, and the other is called the excess vice. Let's look into the previous example I used, using the virtue of honesty. To be virtuous, we need the sweet spot of honesty between the deficiency vice of honesty and the excess vice of honesty. The deficiency vice of honesty would be failing to say things that need to be said. An example of this would be telling the police absolutely nothing at all, or maybe even lying to them and telling them that you didn't even witness the destruction at all. The excess vice would be being brutally honest. An example of this would be telling them every single detail about what happened, but maybe even end up insulting your friends about it, how badly they did it, how weird they were, or how one of them walks like a chicken and laughs like a goose, or maybe even telling the officer they had this big disgusting pimple on their face. They know, but you just had to tell them. Having a perfect amount of honesty though, would be telling the truth and maybe even gently trying to protect your friends at the same time. But let's look at another example. Generosity. To be virtuous, we need to find the sweet spot of generosity between the deficiency vice of generosity and the excess vice of generosity. We can't be too stingy. If I had a tray of cookies, it wouldn't be very virtuous to try and hide it so that I can eat it all myself. But I can't be too generous because it wouldn't be generous to myself if I were to buy everyone a cookie. It would be nice, but if I can't afford it, then I wouldn't be virtuous in thinking for myself. Here, the sweet spot of generosity is only giving when I can, especially to those that need it. Your key words today are eudaimonia, virtuous, character, and deeds. In order to achieve eudaimonia, you must become a virtuous person, and you will have this virtuous character if you do virtuous deeds. All the time, every time, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, till you die. And these virtuous traits will become so natural to you that you will become a virtuous person. A thought experiment brought up by the ethicists Mark White and Robert Arp involves references to a film called The Dark Knight. You don't need to watch this movie to understand this thought experiment, but all you need to understand is that Batman has many opportunities to kill the Joker. And the question we are trying to investigate is, should Batman kill the Joker? Utilitarians would let Batman kill the Joker because by taking this one life, Batman can save so many other lives from falling into the hands of this criminal. Deontologists would reject killing the Joker because it is simply wrong to kill. Care ethicists would wonder if Batman even cares about the Joker. If he does, then he would let the Joker live. If he doesn't, well, bye-bye. Virtue ethicists would highlight the character of the person who kills the Joker. Does Batman want to be the kind of person who takes his enemies' lives? If he kills the Joker, wouldn't that also make him and his character a criminal, just like the Joker? Your questions of the day are, would you kill the Joker? Why or why not? And what do you think is the main difference that makes virtue ethics unique from utilitarianism, deontology, and virtue ethics? In other words, what is the difference between virtue ethics and utilitarianism? What is the difference between virtue ethics and deontology? And what is the difference between virtue ethics and care ethics? Now, I want you all to comment down below your answers to the questions of the day and one fact about virtue ethics that you have learnt or taken with you today. Hey guys, just want to congratulate you all for making it to the final ethical theory. I know it's been a long wait. I've been falling behind a little in some of my homework, but I want you all to know that we can celebrate because this is the very last ethical theory that I will be sharing and teaching you this year. Now, the next steps from this would be learning the case studies and learning how to do well in an ethics debate, and that will hopefully be in my next couple of videos for you guys soon, so keep on the lookout, and thank you guys so much for working hard. I know the turnout will be worth it. We will get our Subway cookies soon. Thank you, Miss Jenkins. Now, we just want to remind you all that, remember, my door is always open, so you can message me on Teams or email whenever you want. In saying that, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys on the next Gray Matter lesson.